All right. So we have a very special guest today. We have Lorena Fikes, who leads up our innovation and growth for the Multifamily Innovation Council. So Lorena, welcome in.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah. So, and by the way, I have to just give you props. Like our Innovation Council is on fire. We're growing. We're adding new members. And part of that process is you're getting an opportunity to spend time with new members as they join. And many of the listeners may not know what the Innovation Council is all about. And I'd love to give an opportunity to just share a little bit about, what you're experiencing and give the listeners a little bit of a taste of what we're doing with the Multifamily Innovation Council.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal to work with. The Innovation Council is really just a group of high-level executives in the multifamily space that all come together to share their strengths, share what they're seeking to get out of each other and out of the industry, and share, different experiences that each of them have had. I think with innovation and AI really changing the landscape, it really allows companies to have other people that may have already experienced digital transformation, may have experienced, connecting with other people in different departments and what are the struggles that each one is having. So I think it's giving a platform for executives to come together without waiting for one-time event a year, and also not forcing executives to have to leave the office. They get to interact with one another once a week and move the needle in their organization much quicker than if they were waiting for once a year event.
I love that. And, it's interesting. A couple of things that are themes to what we talk about is the results that people get, but also the collaboration. It's been interesting that every time we get these new members, it just like a network effect, it keeps getting better and better. And those conversations become more diverse. New members are bringing, people that they know. And a lot of that matters in terms of asset class. So you may have somebody in a market that's in development and they have lease ups, and you have someone else that's in a reposition and they're doing, turnovers and turnarounds, and those types of dynamics and how they exchange has been really remarkable to see unfold. It's been exciting.
Yeah. Well, I think it's all counterintuitive. They each play together with one another. For me, having come from the background of multifamily in a REIT, in a pretty large REIT, you don't realize that some of those things are isolated. So where I came from, working at Essex, we had all owner operated, like we owned and operated our own assets. It's very different than when you have, other assets that you have different owners and you're dealing with, not being able to apply the same thing across the board. And you also don't realize that many people get different things out of the council. So, for example, one thing that I lacked working in marketing was sometimes we weren't working hand in hand with operations, or I didn't see their perspective on things.
True.
Going to the meetings, I'm listening to people in operations, I'm listening to people in IT, and now you're considering, if I rolled something out, how does this affect those other departments? How do I get buy-in for something I'm doing so that it's done effectively? Because now I have these other people to play off of and listen to what are their bigger concerns. Because we may not have the same goals and the same deliveries that another department leader may have. So it allows us to be a little bit more considerate of their needs, and we get more buy-in into something that we might roll out to ensure that it's successful.
Yeah, and looking back at our topics roadmap, because we did go through this in our several meetings back, and it was inspiring to see the amount of topics covered. And when you mentioned, sort of peer-to-peer learning from others is, they're outside sales conversations, right? So these are people that it's not even all about tech. It's been mostly about like, how do you get behavioral change and how do you get buy-in, as you mentioned? And, some of those situations are CFOs. We've got new members that are CFOs that are tasked with creating innovation in their business or tackling AI or coming up with a plan. And maybe these aren't people that are out there traveling around, going to trade shows, learning about products and services. But here we're really exploring that from people that are actually getting these things implemented in the business. I think that's really what's special, I guess, is it's real use cases from real people. And it's not all positive. It's like, hey, we had some challenges here.
Yeah.
Here's what we did about it. and this is what we learned. And if we were going to do that again, here's how we may approach things.
Yeah, I think one thing that we're seeing a lot of is trust within the council, and just having people feel comfortable enough to say, hey, I actually experienced this, and here are the pitfalls that I had so that you don't experience it the same way. And, I think specifically with centralizing leasing offices, right? That's been a huge hot topic. And how do I do it effectively? What are the resources that I need? People are so scared to make changes, especially in this industry, without knowing that somebody else has come before them. However, then they fall behind on a timeline. So having someone to go to and having those peers to say, I have been in your shoes, or here's how I would, experience this or try it this way. It's allowing people to move faster and much quicker and getting the better results. Right. As if they had tried it and, made some mistakes.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, what I thought would be interesting to do is take people through our road mapping process. What was that like for you when you went through that for the first time, seeing the members sort of break out into those groups and determine what are the biggest challenges that they have today? What are the opportunities that they want to create? And then ranking and getting involved in that process. What was that like for you?
Well, it's interesting. I definitely think right now times are a little different. So people are trying to find ways to utilize, for example, amenity spaces in the right way. How do I make money out of some of these spaces? How do I do redevelopment effectively so that I'm capturing funds at the end of this? And everyone's trying to save money and also being really respectful of what technologies they roll out that really make sense. And you do find that no matter what title you're in there as, a CTO, a CFO, a COO, you're almost challenged with the same things. People are talking the same in the same terms. So fraud and debt is a huge topic, right? And it comes across, it's not just the CFO thinking of it. It's also head of operations thinking of it. It's also sometimes marketing thinking of it. How do we market to the right audience? So all of these different people come with different titles and different experiences, but they're all speaking the same language. So it's really cool to see them all come together and say, hey, I'm challenged with the same things that you are challenged with, and my asset class may be a little bit differently, but I'm still looking at it the same way. Yeah. For example, even we talked about lease ups, right? How do you do marketing for a lease up? And are you looking at it more as a lease up? Or are you looking at reclassifying this asset? But we can still look at the same, way of looking at, how do I roll out a marketing plan that makes sense? And you can still apply it to both cases of it. So one thing I'm noticing is we've had lately, which has been really awesome, is to see some people with different titles within the same company, in the same organization, in the same management company. And the reason why is because you're each going to get something out of each meeting differently. You're experiencing something differently. What you might be tasked with at your job may be different than if you're a CTO than the CMO. So either way, you're still benefiting.
Yeah. No, those are all great points. And give us some insight for those that haven't been part of this. Take us into a meeting. What's it like? What's the format? And share a little bit about that.
We start off the meeting. Everyone does their pleasantries, says hi for a second. And then we lay the foundation. What is the hot topic that we're going to discuss? Prior to the meeting, we send out an agenda. So it prepares people to kind of know what meeting they're walking into, what the subject is, and they can send in questions if they want prior. We can build off those questions. And then it's open for discussion. It really gives the platform the time for people to just share whatever they want. They're able to think about how this impacts their life, their career, their business, and then give us their perspective. We also have the opportunity, and we've had the opportunity lately, to do more breakout rooms, which is great because then it's smaller groups of people coming together and having more intimate conversations, and then coming back to the wider meeting and still having a closeout discussion on what did you get out of your smaller group, so that you still touch everybody, but also touch some people just more intimately. And you're able to really create one-on-one relationships too while doing that, so that you can walk away with somebody and getting to know them and say, I need to reach out to you for further discussions.
Right. We had you mentioned some lease up strategies. We've brought in some expert speakers. We've been doing this for many years now. That's been another nice thing. What do you get excited about when we think about the problems that people want to solve but also the ways that we can support people, given that, technology moves so fast, and, you're not necessarily needing to travel to a conference or something to learn about this. Obviously, that's part of it. Like, we still think in-person experiences is important, and that magic is created in terms of like a clarity and a reset.
Yeah.
But if we truly want to innovate, which means for us, as we define it, is making the business better, like more profitable, right? Better experience, all of that. How do you see the experts really delivering and increasing the value of this membership?
Well, for me, I would say if you look at an in-person event, it happens a couple times a year. Let's say, for example, AI and automation and innovation and everything that's happening is happening every single day. So if you're waiting till the end of the year, you're already behind on certain things. And you have certain goals that you want to meet first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth, right? So other people are probably in the same boat as you. So going through your weekly meetings, you're able to bring up the challenges that you're experiencing right then and there and hopefully solve. We are then allowed to, I do a discovery call with every single member when they first join. It allows me to find out what's your goal for the next 6 months at your business? What do you want to achieve? Then we can bring in experts that align to that topic. We can ensure that we hit that topic. And I can also recommend individual peers within our group to say, hey, this person's in your same market. This person's experiencing the same thing you just shared. Here's someone that I recommend you go and reach out to outside of just our meetings. That's creating one-on-one relationships outside of just the group meeting.
Sure.
We're giving you every opportunity to really move the needle much quicker than in a bigger landscape. I would say that I'm excited to see so many people wanting to test things out and really wanting to innovate and try automation and say, hey, I'm going to do it maybe at a small scale. Here's where I want to start. And sharing that with one another and not being afraid to fail.
Right.
I think in our industry, having, left property management and then going into tech, people are willing to take risks in tech.
Sure.
People are willing to try new things because they have to. You're not going to succeed if you don't try it. And I'm seeing more people stand behind that in multifamily and say, I need to test things out differently. I need to align better with our partners, which are our suppliers, and say, these are the needs that I have. So we're creating success on both sides, giving the opportunity for our partners to participate in these conversations as well, and ensuring that they then have that open discussion with management companies and these executive leaders so that they're creating the products that are needed and necessary.
Yeah. And you've been part of the summits too. So you see the annual events. Like what was that like for you first time experiencing?
Well, I would say the women's is inspirational. I have never seen that many women in one room in the extent that it was beautiful to see. Everybody was supporting one another. There's some great, amazing boss ladies. They are moving the needle. They're experiencing different things and they're all willing to share. No one's coveting their information. No one says this is just what I'm doing at my business. Everybody's willing to be honest and say, here's what I'm experiencing. Here's the challenges that I have being a female executive leader. Here's where I'm challenged with budget. Now, how do I still achieve what I want to achieve and be successful? It's an open environment for discussion and the networking is amazing. Yeah. You're able to find companies and organizations that you are needing to work with. For example, if you need a certain partner in an ILS, if you need a certain partner for, a CRM, for certain different things that you're looking for, you're able to have those open discussions in a more trustful situation. And you have a lot of opportunities to have that discussion with them.
Yeah. And for those that are part of the Innovation Council, the annual Innovation Summit and AI Summit this year, what was that like?
That one, that's exciting. I love seeing
And you got a chance to speak at that.
I did get a chance
You did a great job, by the way.
Yes. Those are archived now. It was awesome. Mostly because you're really getting your peers out in there. Like you are seeing people that really love innovation, really are loving AI. And as scary as AI can be for a lot of people, it's and intimidating, it's nice to hear from others that are saying, I'm willing to take that risk. I'm willing to see what it can do for my business. And the sooner you get behind it and the sooner you're able to test it, you're going to go farther with your company. You're saving time. It's not changing the people. You still need people and you still need all of that. It's just creating efficiency through your process.
Yeah.
And the Innovation AI Summit, I loved the speakers that were there. They're all high quality. They're all very specialized in what they're doing. And so they're able to give you really quick insights that you can take back to your organization right away and start making changes.
Right.
What we find is that sometimes you can't relate to other people. I found that you could relate to anybody if you were willing to kind of go and speak to them, share with them. I've experienced many different conferences in both the multifamily space and the technology space. What I really enjoyed out of this one is that it's more intimate and that it's a more of an open discussion. Even though there's a panel, even though there's keynotes, you still have the ability to ask questions. And every question is not a bad question because someone else is thinking the same way. They may not want to ask it, but somebody's getting something out of that question that's being asked.
Right.
And it's really creating a foundation for change right away and learning and going back and taking growth from it and really impacting your organization right away.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's really great. Those are good reflections. And it's just been awesome because, we've been doing these events for 10 years, but now that we do them as part of the membership organization, they're really more special because we're with them all throughout the year. And, sometimes it's nice to, there's just this fellowship, I think, when you meet people in person, you've solved problems. And I think from a strategy standpoint, even with like the innovation showcase and things like that, to roadmap the problems and then actually work on those things, bring in experts during the year, try and do things to solve some of these challenges, and then through the newsletter that we produce, either on LinkedIn or through our email subscribers, and then through the innovation showcase, kind of give a feedback loop back to the industry, like what the council's been working on, what the priorities are, and showcase that at the event as like, this is what we got done. Not like what can be done, but like, this is what we got done.
It's a celebration in a way.
Right.
You get to come and celebrate everything you worked hard for. And you're celebrating with your other peers that you guys have, we've achieved all these different concerns, all these different things that we all were in it together. So it's almost like you just have built a better relationship. And you wouldn't really build that in just meeting somebody right away at a conference one time.
Right.
We're really building this foundation of a relationship. So you continue as you grow in your career, as you change organizations, you're keeping the same group of people. You're keeping these people that you related to, you made changes with, you now know effectively how to seek help a little bit. I think so many people are afraid to say, I don't know what I'm doing. And the more you say it, the more you realize others are in the same boat.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting. And you mentioned celebration. I mean, we do recognize we have our awards too, which is a celebration. Like, you've built a great business. It's been healthy. You're tackling the challenges. You're making your employees, your investors, all of that like priority. And so we've created some really interesting programs with the Multifamily Innovation Awards to recognize not only individuals, but obviously the companies through the best places to work. You mentioned AI earlier, and I wanted to just leave listeners with this. Like, the way that we see the AI conversation is AI is for us, right? And a lot of people see it as technology, and there are technologies that are going to really remarkably disrupt and reinvent the way that work gets done. But ultimately, our goal to support our multifamily membership organization here with the Multifamily Innovation Council is to truly look at it like, this AI is for us. It is for you to get access to tools that are going to make life better, open up opportunities we didn't have before, find different paths to income, really unlock innovation inside the company, and not to be afraid of that process. And so I've been on this mission to bring the smartest people around that conversation to the table through experts, through the council. And of course, I'm going to leave some surprises to the members and the attendees to the summit. But we have access to some speakers that would normally not come to multifamily to speak. And I think that's really special to create this sort of out of the vacuum conversation, because sometimes we look to solve problems from where we've always solved problems. And there's other places that the problems very similar have been solved that may help a multifamily owner and operator think about their business differently. And we're going to bring them access to that.
Yeah, it's almost like, I hate to say this, but it's almost like, it's not that multifamily is sinking, but it's kind of like a sinking ship where you're just plugging a couple holes. We have to change out things. Like, we have to be willing to say, you know what, AI is going to come, it's going to transform things. And there's so many tech companies that are doing things differently that we don't have to just do things the same way in multifamily. There's things that are applicable through the way other businesses are being done. We just have to be a little bit more open to seeing that. And how do we all play in the same sandbox? How do we still achieve the same results, better results, right? But we're not willing to look outside of the technologies that we currently have. And I think we have to be open-minded. There's so many things that can save time, create more efficiencies, and save money down the line with just simple things, that repetitive tasks that you're doing on a daily basis and your team's doing on a daily basis that sometimes we don't know. I think one of the things that stands out to me is a meeting where we tasked our council members, and I say this time and time again, we tasked our council members to go on site and spend hours with their leasing team. And one of the members came back and shared how one of her team members opened up a binder to log into a system, and she was asking, why do you have so many passwords? And she goes, well, we have 79 passwords because we have 79 different logins for the different systems that have been rolled out. And I think that's where we're not understanding that sometimes we're doing things in a vacuum and we're rolling out all these new initiatives, not considering how it's taken on the other end and how it's affecting our teams. And so I think the more we're open to seeing things on different sides of the coin, and I definitely think having that perspective of different council members, different experiences. Someone might be on site on a daily basis. Somebody may not be. A CFO is in an office, right? They're not seeing certain things. But a CFO at a smaller asset company could be tasked with being a CTO, kind of a marketing person, you know, and, so they still are touching some of these things. And so we're learning from each other. We're growing from each other. And I think we just have to be open-minded to saying we need help. And there's organizations like our council that have the peers there that are moving the needle and seeking help and actually solving these problems that we're all seeing, so that you can do that so much quicker.
I love what you shared there. And I'll reflect on another conversation to your point when we asked, as we do these things at the end of the meeting where we say, well, I'm leaving with, and the members sort of finish the sentence with, like, how was this meeting useful? And what will I do to take back and get a result? Either I'm going to walk into my next meeting with a better question, or maybe even sometimes a better answer. But we asked everybody to spend time with their maintenance individuals, right? Like their maintenance teams. And we've had some great reflections on some outcomes from those conversations. One of them was like, when we look at our roadmap for priorities, like the challenges that we want to solve, and then ranking them on like what's most important out of these, that helps us bring in the right speaker, the right guest expert, and then that also determines what we talk about even at the annual event, right? And so that is, when you mention trust, it's coming from them. It's not that there's just this, let's talk about these things. It's coming from the current realities. And so when we looked at the maintenance conversation, we asked, there was a topic, I remember, it was called protecting cash flow. So we need to protect cash flow, right, today. We always should be protecting it, but obviously it's more of a priority now than ever, so then we can continue to service the debt on these properties. And when we did that, we looked at the income line items we looked at the P&L, and half of the dollars that come in were going to maintenance, turnover, expenses, renovate, those types of things. And so the task was, go spend time with the maintenance team and let's get to know them better. Let's ask them, where are they getting stuck, that type of stuff. And the simplest things that came back, I remember, was one individual said, well, we want them to do these certain things from an administration area, but we actually don't have a place for them to do administrative work, right? So it's the simplest things that are even not even technology driven that they can innovate by process decision or communication that makes the business better. It's just like, focus here and those types of insights. So these are the things that I enjoy, is like hearing like different ways that people find different ways to make the business better. And sometimes it's not purchasing tech. It has nothing to do with technology. In fact, a lot of our conversations hardly even discuss technology.
That's correct. I mean, I think also in that same example you shared, someone is still struggling with, they don't even have emails for all their maintenance team, right? And then there's another business that has the emails. However, they don't keep them involved in the conversations when they do new rollouts. So how do you continue to keep them and have a forum, have open discussions so that you have maybe a representative from a maintenance team, right? That understands what you're rolling out and is now the person that is an expert in that and now can share it with other team members. So there's all these different layers that you build upon in that meeting. So someone's going to get one part of it, even if they're at the first start of that and just creating emails. Okay, now they know where to start, but they also know how high they want to go with it.
Right.
And then there's somebody that might be in the middle of that going, I already have the emails. We just now need to add them to the conversation. And then maybe there's a different 60,000 unit company where they're saying, hey, now I need maintenance retreats. I need to have an event just specifically to my maintenance. So there's so many ways of still achieving results. It's just how you look at it and where you're at.
Yeah, and I love that. As you share that, it made me think, like, I remember out of that conversation where we're talking about, the whole goal is to lease up, lease faster. And when we were talking about our own bias when it comes to our own work, like the types of technologies that get invented today are from the people that did that type of work. And you don't see a lot of technology coming out of maintenance because the path of funding and the path of entrepreneurship, I don't know what it is, but those products aren't being developed like they are with the marketing and the asset management and the things that we all have experienced bringing to market. And that conversation led to, when we are celebrating success on renting 25 apartments in a week, on the flip side of that, through these conversations, we learned these conversations with maintenance was like, well, wait a minute, that's putting a lot of pressure on overtime and deliverables, their ability to deliver. And oh my gosh, their world just got wrecked from their perspective. And it was very interesting to see the members work through that conversation. There was a few ahas in that, like, I never thought about it like that.
Well, not even that, just how do you streamline ordering processes? So if you need to now turn over a certain amount, how do you streamline, those costs? How do you streamline having painters? Do you have them all on call? How, do you have the supplies? How do you then keep supplies? And then how are you fast tracking some of those things? And so there is ways to solve with technology on some of those aspects that sometimes we're not thinking about because we're just used to the same thing, which I think is really great because we're all learning. We're all in the same boat. We're all experiencing the same things, but we're all being challenged in different ways.
Yeah, this has been great and some good points of reference too. So, tell us a little bit about who the council's for. And those that are listening, you can go to multifamilyinnovation.com/council or just multifamilyinnovation.com, click on council, and you can see all the information. Just click become a member, and you will get all the information you need to do to get started and join us. Every Friday, we're having meetings. Tell us a little bit about who this is for.
I would say this is for any executive in that space. You will gain a lot of great peers in management companies, investment companies, anyone that has any assets in multifamily. You can start from small, you can go to really large. We have the gamut of it all. And it's for you to, doesn't matter what your title is and your position is, because realistically, as long as you're an executive, we definitely want those peers there. And we continue to grow it. We will have tracks for different levels. We really just want all the insights to come in. You're going to get something out of it. Like, this is your peer group. This is exactly what you need to really move the needle this year. And as you continue, this is what I wish I had when I was, in the industry. I wish I had people that, would say, hey, when you're considering this rollout plan for a new development, you need to consider this part of how you're tracking your demographic. Who are you targeting to? All these different things that perhaps I might have, had to do research on and, had pitfalls with a certain organization or a company that I might have thought would have worked. I could have heard from somebody else to say, hey, it doesn't work in that market, or it doesn't work the way you expect it to work, but here are other considerations that you should look at it. I think it's for anyone that really, it's an individual base. So it's going to work for you at your organization, but it's more for your own career growth too. You're going to learn a lot for what you're doing and how far you want to go in the industry, and, different aspects of what you want to learn. You may not have an impact right now in AI, and you may feel like that's something that you're not interested or innovation, but every aspect of innovation in AI is going to be a part of anyone's role.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's things that you can learn. There's things that you can adapt to now, and you can get on the forefront of it and gain a lot of new insights so that you aren't falling behind.
Yeah, that's true. And it's getting harder to not follow behind because things are moving so fast. And that's why I've always said this is like 50 events for the price of one, because obviously we have their in-person meeting, but we have these weekly events that serve in this way. And I've also noticed a couple of other trends. I mean, because we've got from CFOs to CIOs to CTOs to VPs, we've got the gamut of, as you mentioned, the leaders. I think it's really for those that are committed to making an impact for them personally and professionally. But also, some of these organizations have their own sort of internal committees and processes to tackle certain things in the business. This has been, I've noticed that some of the members chair their own sort of like innovation committee in their company. And this is an opportunity to serve them at a whole new level so they can go back and lead a great committee to a diverse conversation for their company. Because they may do those things differently, right? But this gives them that forum to really lean on the diverse perspective of all these members. The other thing, Lorena, we can talk about is leaning into service, because when you teach and when you contribute, learning accelerates, and when you're involving others, this is a team game. And we've opened up opportunities to get involved in different group leadership roles, from membership to AI, automation, to centralization, different ways that members can start chairing and leading those opportunities. Is that something you want to share a little bit about? Or
Yeah, I think that people have strengths in so many areas. So giving back in those areas is really beneficial. And then I think that the more you give, the more you're going to get. Mm-hmm. We really want people that are going to share and ask questions and be part of the conversation. You're going to get more out of everybody that's there because you're going to share what you're concerned with, what you're struggling with, and being honest and vulnerable in those meetings is where you're going to move the needle, and you're going to learn. You're going to be able, and we see it happen all the time. Every week we see people say, hey, here was my obstacle this week. Or here, I don't understand the California laws. That was one, right. I'm new to some of this. Can somebody help me? And people are so vulnerable to say, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to meet this number by the end of this week. Like, how can I do this? And people are, hey, here's an example. Here's what I've done. Here's a roadmap of getting it done. And that's where we're all going to grow. That's where we're all going to, get more out of. And I think these different committees are allowing you to say, I have, for example, for me, I have a lot of experience in new developments. So I can give back to that area. I can say, here's how I would roadmap it. Here's how I would write out an agency plan. Here are the demographics you should target. Here's how you create your marketing plan based on your target audience. These are the things that you should be looking at and how you expect to lease up by a certain time frame.
Sure.
And why not utilize the skills that I have to share with somebody else? And then I'm going to get something from someone else that has those same skills. So the more we're aligning what your strengths and weaknesses are, you're going to grow in one area or another.
Yeah, no, I love it. And it's like as if every member is a board member for reinventing the membership organization of the future. I love that because it's unlimited. I think everybody has that voice. everybody has some gift to share, and I love how you presented that. It's a great thing. Listen, if you're enjoying this and you want to learn how to get involved in the Multifamily Innovation Council, we're growing fast. It's exciting. What we do over the next 5-10 years is going to be remarkable for what multifamily is capable of doing and really transforming communities in America. And you want to get involved, reach out to us, and you can go to multifamilyinnovation.com, click on council, and all the information you need to get started is right on that page. Just click.
I would say, hold on,
Yeah.
for a limited time only, we're giving a free ticket to the Innovation AI Summit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's huge. You're paying for becoming a member, but you're getting it back and getting a ticket, and you get to see us in person. You get to see all your peers that are part of the council in person. And if you don't think that that's going to move the needle, you're already going to an event, and then you're getting multiple events every Friday.
True. It's such a true story. And again, just what we're doing is increasing the value of this experience. And so we're always adding in, we're bringing in guest speakers, authors, really interesting things around data, AI, technology, change management. And we have put together a pretty amazing team. But I think it's really the collective genius of all of them, like I mentioned earlier about becoming almost like a board member. If you've ever wanted the opportunity to make a difference, if you've ever wanted to serve in a capacity that helps not only you personally, but also your company, and then ultimately serves the industry in a positive way, this is a group of people that are doing those things. And then ultimately, we also know it needs to matter. You need to be able to make your business more profitable, and you need to grow personally and professionally. And I know that all the things that we're doing align with all those values. And so it's just a matter of reaching out, getting involved. Go to multifamilyinnovation.com. You click on council. All the information on that page is there for you to become a member. Just click become a member. Get started. Next step, you'll be in touch with Lorena, and you'll be in a meeting as early as this next coming Friday and start making a difference.
And I would say invest in yourself. Be willing to invest in yourself. Taking 1 hour a week to spend time with peers and to grow is you're going to get more knowledge than you would in taking a course that's going to take you hours, getting this information, paying another vendor to gain some of the knowledge that you're about to get in this meeting.
Oh,
so
right.
Take the time to invest 1 hour in yourself and take a deep breath, because sometimes even just giving gratitude and even just spending time with one another and hearing what other people are challenged with gives you a time to pause and also be thankful of what you've already achieved at your business.
Yeah. And a lot of members use this as a boost of confidence, because sometimes people are dealing with things that they feel in isolation, like they're not around the type of people that think like them. And so they're trying to force impact and change within an organization, and they need a support system to do that.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, you heard it from us. You've heard it from Lorena. Wanted to, again, invited you to look at the show notes. There'll be an opportunity for you to click the link, become a member, and get started and start making an impact in multifamily.
Yep. And join in on the fun with us.
That's right. All right. Well, with that, we'll leave you for more exciting news on the next episodes. Lorena, thanks for coming in.
Anytime.
And sharing the time and so wonderfully expressing, I think, some of the things that you're noticing inside these meetings, and it's been great to have you help build this. And I can't wait to see what other members you bring along with this. So it's been great.
Thank you. And I'm excited to continue to grow it. I'm excited to see the new members that are going to join, and don't get left behind. That's all I have to say.
That's right. All right. We'll see you guys in the next episode.